Hi, this is Tom with CigarMedics, here with the High Desert Man, Vik, and the HumidiMeter. Vik is going to be talking a little bit about the HumidiMeter. And for those of you who don't know what this is, it's a device in which you stick those probes in the foot or the cap of your cigar, and it'll read the humidity of the tobacco inside of your cigar, not the air around it, the tobacco inside your cigar. So Vik, when we first, actually Kevin from Cigar Prop approached Vik with the meter, sent him one. He really wasn't a believer of the meter at all, and he's going to explain the difference of why he's such a supporter of ours at this point. Vik, go ahead.
Hey everyone, how's it going? So yeah, I'm Vik from High Desert Man, and he's got it right. And I've talked about it on my videos on my YouTube channel. When Kevin first reached out to me about this and did his video about it, really I did think that it was sort of a gimmicky tool. I thought that it was good price point and everything, and a cool idea, but you know, it's generally what cigar smokers have heard for years is just let your cigars rest, you know, throw them in your humidor for a bit, a couple weeks and stuff, and you'll be good to go. And that was generally what my thinking was. And as when I received mine and started using it, my eyes were opened. There was all kinds of stuff I was learning about my cigars, especially stuff from mail order and that. But it was one project I did in particular, a video I did on a box of cigars that I received. They were called Navy SEAL cigars. They were done back in 2009 for guys serving in Iraq. And the guy that I got them from, he served over there, and all of his group that he was with, they were given these boxes of cigars, but he didn't smoke. So he just tossed them in his garage and forgot about them. Well, he and I met last year at a show that High Desert Man was at. And we got to talking and stuff. And after he realized that I enjoy cigars and I'm kind of involved in the cigar industry, he said, "Hey, I've got a box of cigars that's been sitting in my garage since 2009. Would you be interested in them?" And I said, "Absolutely." So the process of bringing those cigars back and just seeing, okay, what does a cigar, after it's dried out that much, after it's been sitting in a garage for that many years, what does it taste like once you bring the humidity level back and stuff? And what really shocked me was how long it took to bring the humidity back. It takes much longer than people would generally think. And that, I couldn't have learned that without this tool.
Yeah, you know, the example we always use is something that a situation that everybody could relate to. When you stick a can of pop in the fridge, you know, the next day, a few hours later, that can of pop is going to be just as cold as the fridge. And people may have that misconception that once you stick a cigar in a humidor, after a few days, few weeks, the cigar is going to reach optimal humidity from the surrounding air. And that's just not the case. It could take months. How long did it take, if you remember, how long did it take for those cigars actually to reach the humidity that your humidor was posting?
Oh my gosh, it took over 6 months. And I started, the way I started off at a real low humidity level, because these cigars, the cigars were beautiful. The box was cellophaned, all of the cigars were cellophaned. They were absolutely beautiful sticks. But, and they were done by Rolando Reyes. And, a lot of people today don't know who that is, but back then he was a big, big name. So they were good Honduran cigars. And I didn't want them to crack or anything like that. So I started real low. I brought them up to like 46% first. And then I went to somewhere in the 50s after that. And then I aimed for 69% after that. And 69%, I had them bagged in a bag by themselves with large Bovida packs. And gee whiz, after a couple months, I went and checked, and the cigars were still only measuring in the high 40s. And I was like, my gosh, this is taking forever. So the whole process ended up taking me about 7 or 8 months to get them. And then I actually smoked one 2 months ago, back in February on my channel. I smoked one just to see, okay, what does this cigar taste like after all that? But I thought I was going to be able to do that video much sooner than I did, because the whole time I was waiting for those cigars, and I just kept using this to check them and to check various cigars in the bag and see where they were at. And there's a reason why that process takes so long. I talk about this on a video I did about humidors. Wood and plant life and cigars and whatever, they're hygroscopic. Hygroscopic means that they react to the environment around them. They will absorb moisture and humidity or let it off based on the environment around them. And they'll do it at a specified rate, unless, like in the case of a cigar, if you try to do it too quick, then, and it's a real dry cigar, then that humidity has to go somewhere. And that's what will cause that hygroscopic effect, is the cigars absorbing the moisture as quick as they can, and they crack. But it's not the right way to do it, because then you're not getting an even absorption and stuff. The right way to do it is over time, and in a way that you can monitor. And the way that you can monitor it is with the HumidiMeter, so that you can validate that you are increasing or decreasing, if that is the case, at a sort of a controlled rate, so you don't damage the cigars.
Right. Well, that's good information for all the people out there. And I'm sure you used it obviously with other cigars. And you're finding the same thing, that sometimes it takes just a little bit longer than perceived to get that cigar up to relative humidity or preferred relative humidity. Are you finding that you are preferring your cigars at what levels, actually, do you find that you prefer your cigars at?
I'll smoke cigars as low as 60%, but I generally try to hang around somewhere between 63 and 65. Now my humidors, with the sensors that I have in my humidors, they always read somewhere around, generally around 72, 73%. But because of rotation of cigars, because of how many cigars, I recently did a big project where I rotated all my cigars and developed another humidor and stuff, and I had dry cigars. Well, I still have cigars that have been in that humidor, like my New Air humidor. They've been in there for a couple months, and they're still measuring low, even though the humidor is running high. So it's something that I just would not have known without the HumidiMeter. And for me, I live in Arizona, so for me, it's a very dry climate, and generally, if I mail order stuff, when I got this thing, I started checking all the cigars that I was getting through mail order. And most companies now are including a Bovida pack, but that Bovida pack, there can be an argument that Bovida pack isn't really doing anything other than sustaining where the cigars are at when they were packaged. Because the trip of being mailed from a shop to you is not long enough for anything to really happen. And yet in Arizona, what I noticed was that nearly everything that I was getting through mail order was really low, like typically in the low 50s, a couple times in the low 40s. And you smoke a cigar that's that dry, it's going to crack on you. It's going to just not taste very good and
Taste.
stuff. And you really want to have it at that optimum level so it tastes good.
On our packaging, we have 60 to 70 as a range, but I'm finding that the sweet spot is in between 63 and 67
Yeah, I would agree.
with the humidimeter. Well, you know what? The feedback and everything you spoke of are all valid points. So from CigarMedics, we just want to tell you thank you for your support. And I know you had mentioned you have a new show coming up, if you want to talk about that briefly before we end here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a show called The Triple Cap Show. Our second episode is actually tonight. It's a bi-weekly show, so it's every other Friday from 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's on the High Desert Man YouTube channel, so just search High Desert Man, you'll find it. And I co-host that show with Caesar and Rob from the Smoke and Lead channel. And we call it live masculinity. We just get on there and talk about man stuff and smoke cigars.
That's awesome. Good to hear. And anybody interested, obviously, in the humidimeter, oops, sorry, CigarMedics.com. Thank you very much, Vic. And I'll be listening to and watching the show tonight. But we thank
All right.
you.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about this.
Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Vic.